Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad. Is this audio working?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Dhanyavad Rasaraj, how are you?
Dhanyavad Maharaj, I'm doing fine.
Dhanyavad. Krishna Chaitanya in Ukraine. Dhanyavad.
Maharaj, nice to see you. How are you? How's your health?
Pretty good. How was yours?
That's fine, thank you.
Dhanyavad Maharaj.
Dhanyavad. Buenos días aquí y buenas tardes allá.
Buenas tardes.
Dhanyavad Pranam. No, buenas noches.
Dhanyavad Falguni. ¿Cómo están?
Bien. ¿Usted cómo está?
Pues aquí chambeando.
Muy contento de verlo.
Okay, Dhanyavad. Devashis.
Maharaj.
Everything good?
Yes, Maharaj. Going on.
Okay. There it says, Krishna Kishore, is that Lakshmi Kanti or Krishna Kishore?
I don't know.
Dhanyavad Maharaj, we're both here, kind of. Lakshmi Kanti is just coming shortly.
Okay, Dhanyavad. And Tungarasta?
Dhanyavad Maharaj, Dhanyavad. Dhanyavad to all the devotees.
Dhanyavad.
Nice to see you, Maharaj. And be with all you.
So Tungarasa, where you are, it's summer now, huh?
Oh, summer. No. Are you joking?
No, I'm serious.
No, Norway. It's winter now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
But it's still warm. Where you are, though, it's not much winter. It's really warm, right?
Not so cold now. Up about 5 degrees up plus 5 about this temperature.
Oh, okay. What is 5 or 6 degrees in Fahrenheit? It must be about. It's still way below zero.
It was quite cold.
No, 5 degrees.
Sometimes ago.
No, 5 degrees. 5 degrees centigrade, right? Let me see. Okay, here. Oh, 41 degrees. That's not cold. I thought it would be very cold in Norway.
Somewhere. It depends of the area.
Oh, okay. And Saraswati, how are you?
Dhanyavad Maharaj. I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
How are you feeling with the shingles?
I'm still shingle. Sannyasis are always shingle. Okay. Bhagavan, Dhanyavad. And Dhanyavad. And there's Arati. Arati is where? Do you know who that Arati refers to?
Could be Arati from Venezuela. Could be, possibly.
Maybe, yes. There's also an Arati in.
Oh, yeah, in Singapore or Malaysia.
Malaysia, I think.
Yeah, the wife of Naku.
Yeah. But I don't know which Arati that is. Which RT are you, RT? Muted. Jailalita?
Dandavad Maharaj,
Dhanavat?
very nice to see you recovering.
You're well?
Well, not very. No, not really.
Why?
I haven't feel well the past weeks, and I'm still, because when the weather changed, all my body, I got some kind of condition in my muscles. So every time the weather change, I'm really struggle. But today I'm okay, so I'm here.
So where are you originally from?
Well, I originally from the Canary Islands, but I was living in Venezuela for almost all my life, and then I come back to Canary Island with my family, and then come to London. So I'm here from 2007.
Well, that's the reason anybody from Venezuela is going to feel the winter in UK.
Goodness, but I'm here for so many years, and I didn't know when I'm going to adapt it. Yeah.
Lakshmikanti, are you adapted to the cold in London or in England? Oh, you're adapted.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I
Different
already know when I need gloves, when I don't, when I need. So today you see I'm not wearing any sweater. So.
You're what? Not wearing any sweater. Okay.
I'm not wearing any sweaters or any fleece.
Yeah. But I know, Madhusudan Maharaj, when he comes here, and it's not so cold here. We're in California, not so cold, but he always feels coldness in his feet. And he goes walking through the Himalayas. He goes on all kinds of things, and still he tells me the floor is cold, and I don't notice anything. So different persons, different reaction. Rasaraj. Oh, Rasaraj. What's that? Hot chocolate?
Herbal tea.
Herbal tea. That's what Govinda Maharaj used to call Haribol Jol. All right. Leela. Bhagavan. Bhagavan Dandavat. Estás ahí en Venezuela, ¿no? Oh, Bhagavan. Está tan... Huh. He's so cold, he's frozen. Where's the echo coming from? Echo? Is there still an echo? No. Oh. Any questions from Anonymous?
Not from Anonymous, but I do have a question actually, Maharaj, if I can find it. Just Where is it gone?
You don't remember the question?
Well, I do. I just wanted to kind of get it right. You know, it's not really that. No, here we go. It's not really that complex or anything. It's from Narad Prabhu. I don't know if he's joining us tonight. He said he'll try, but he may not be able to make it. So anyway, he says, what can we learn from the life, mission, and example set by Lord Jesus Christ? What inspiration can we take from him at this Christmas time?
What inspiration can we have from Lord Jesus Christ? Well, much inspiration. Srila Guru Maharaj referred to his example of that of sacrifice. And obviously, and that's what we always hear from the Christians too. They also appreciate that point, that Jesus Christ engaged in so much sacrifice for the benefit of other persons, leading to his crucifixion. What is it? Crucifixion or that's the word, right?
Crucifixion.
Crucifixion. Leading to his crucifixion, and he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." So, an idea of going through some personal difficulty, some pain and travail for the benefit of others. And also, we'd hear from our acharyas that Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, the example of Christianity is self-sacrifice. And he said, and we also see, I believe, in the example of Vasudeva Datta, he said that this can be up to the point of self-forgetfulness. Self-forgetfulness. Because, like Jesus Christ, Vasudeva Datta, he asked that transfer all the karma of the conditioned souls to me so that they may be able to come to the point of understanding devotion. He said, transfer all their karma, all their suffering to me. But what did Mahaprabhu respond to that? He said, it is not necessary that you personally go through the suffering, because just by the presence of a pure devotee, everyone will get to the point of, everyone will get to the point of liberation, salvation, or better yet, to come to the path of devotion, just by the presence of a pure devotee. That's the purifying effect. And when we look towards the example of Christ, we can appreciate that. I mean, this is some change from what is the previous path of given in the Old Testament, an eye for an eye. But it has been said, an eye for an eye, what is it? An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that gives the idea of karma, but if everyone will go for an eye, eventually the whole populace will be blind. We shouldn't, there's an idea of some kind of, in that view of an eye for eye, a tooth for a tooth, idea of karma, but it's also an example of non-forgiveness. There's not so much forgiveness in that concept. And rather, as Srila Guru Maharaj will remark, he says this is the idea of the Lord as as justice, approaching the Lord in the plane of justice. But we have seen the practical aspect is that nobody wants to approach the Lord in the plane of justice. Rather, they will adopt the negative sentiment, which is humility, and they will say, "My Lord, if you would judge me," and this is a fact. I mean, Vaishnava must feel this way. "My Lord, if you will judge me, I have no good qualities. I am a fallen soul. So please, my Lord, I beg to you as a fallen soul that I am worthy of your mercy." The Vaishnavas will express something of that feeling. That I have no good qualities, and if you will judge me, my Lord, I am condemned. But I'm begging to you that you please give your glance of mercy towards me. I was just reading in the Chaitanya Bhagavat today, and that was the expression of, I believe we read about Srivas Pandit's the demise of his son and Mahaprabhu's elucidation to the boy. Mahaprabhu went to see the dead boy and spoke to him, and they had a conversation. And that boy expressed this feeling that you will please give me your mercy. I'm a conditioned soul. I've come here. And the devotees, I mean, that will be the sentiment of the expression of any devotee. I'm a fallen soul, my Lord. Please give your mercy to me. I'm not worthy, but I'm begging for your mercy. And we sing that every day. We're singing Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dasi. That you please give your mercy to me. And so that is a sentiment. Then we're also advised by Guru Maharaj to try to, if you're natural, you'll beg for that sentiment yourself, then try and extend it to others. And we've remarked how that will be accomplished in the best way if everyone will try to give not only mercy, but to persons who are unaware of what mercy is, or that even that they're looking for it. Give them some sukriti, give people sukriti, try to help them to connect with the divine plane, if nothing else through your affectionate dealings with them. Then people can appreciate, oh, I talked with this person today and this person was very saintly, and I can appreciate, or that person was very kind. Even if they'll have some favorable impression of you, that gives them some sukriti. You're expressing to them your desire to see that they become, bettered by having some relationship with Krishna consciousness. But not in the sense that you're the savior or anything like that. Rather, as I've remarked, the way I see these things is if you're eating something that you like, for instance, you're eating what will be soon for you all, dinner. You're eating dinner, and someone will knock on your door, someone known to you or someone unknown. They knock on your door, you'll invite them in, and they'll say, "Oh, well, please forgive me, I didn't want to interrupt your dinner." But you'll say, no, there's plenty here, please sit down, take a meal with us. And the person will likely say, "Oh, very nice," and maybe sit down and eat with you at the same table. I mean, that's, especially if that person knocks on the door is somebody you know, a devotee, you won't just tell them, "Come back later when I'm not eating." No, you'll invite the person in, you'll ask the person to join you, something like that. So rather than, we see people on the corners thumping Bibles, and preaching fire and brimstone speeches to whoever passes by, whether they listen or not. But rather, that may be one mood of a preacher, and we find that sometimes among fundamentalist Christians, evangelists, they'll be like that. But another kind of preacher will try to share what they find to be valuable or so tasteful. They'll try to share it with other people and saying, and more the mood of, this is something that I like very much. Here, try this. Maybe I think you'll like it also. That mood, that's a nice mood. Not one of talking down to the people, but as Guru Maharaj said, of giving them sukriti. But returning to the question about Jesus Christ and what can we gain, well, one thing we do see that with the Christians, though, is they have so many images on Christ on the cross, or they have crucifix with Christ on the cross, and that's also rather painful for the devotees to see the sufferings of Jesus Christ. We know it's for the benefit of everyone, but we don't necessarily like to focus in and see that image in front of our eyes. It's painful. It's not as painful that we're thinking we'll be crucified. No, it's painful for us to see that a pure soul will be suffering for our benefit. We can appreciate that he is sacrificed for everyone's benefit, but at the same time, we don't like to see the sufferings of a devotee. So that image of Christ on the cross, we find that to be a little impactful, a little bit strong for us. You can say, well, that's a good reminder for people. Yes, I suppose so, but not something I necessarily want to be reminded of seeing a devotee suffering. I don't necessarily want to be reminded of that. I would rather be reminded of his sacrifice and his teachings. He also took the position of a guru. He had disciples. We know one famous disciple betrayed him, but that's also not so unusual in the sense that we can see that sometimes, even though the guru is very kind to one, sometimes knowingly or unknowingly, someone may betray Sri Guru. And so it's not so surprising in one sense that one of his disciples, Guru Maharaj though says that Christ utilized that. He utilized Judas for his benefit, and in a supposed conversation between Judas and Christ, as related by Guru Maharaj, Christ says, "Please forgive me, for I utilized you for my purposes. I employed you for my purposes." You know that conversation, isn't it? You've heard that?
Yes. Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, Guru Maharaj says from his look, he inferred that.
So he's saying to Judas, not that the fault is with Judas, but that Christ is saying, I utilized you for my purposes, to convey or express my message. I utilized you. And Guru Maharaj may see in that way. It's difficult for us to see that because we can only listen to Guru Maharaj's words, that was there laden in the glance of Christ towards Judas. But at the same time, throughout the world, everyone will revile. And maybe that's all, and also undoubtedly, that's part of what Guru Maharaj is referring to, because in history, Judas is reviled as a traitor who sold Christ out for, 12 pieces of silver?
So, yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, but rather I will say about Christ's teachings, there is a break between the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Old Testament seems to be quite often dealing with karma, quite quite often the revenge of, you can say, of the Israelites. Is it Israelites?
Yeah, Israelites, yes.
Israelites. The Israelites' revenge upon the hostile persons they're dealing with, and quite often expressed in the form of karma. I know many examples of that, but I'm not going to cite that, because we can all appreciate that the Old Testament is very different in tone to the New Testament. The New Testament is more dealing with Christ's mercy, and the Old Testament is dealing with the you can say, setting things right for all the offenses that were committed against the Israelites and against the Jews. So, there's that message, but that message of we can say is one of karma, and the New Testament is one of mercy, the mercy being expressed. And at one time, once I was acquainted, I was already, years in this mission, but I tried to read the New Testament. I just tried to read it again to see, or maybe I never read it, but I read, and I only got to the chapter which was called Hebrews. And there it talked about cleaning the altar with the blood of an animal. And I thought, well, maybe some people will consider that cleaning the altar, but I cannot read any more of this. I'm done with this. I got, more than halfway through it and everything. Maybe I didn't get to apocalypse or anything. Was that in the New Testament?
I mean,
Well,
Revelations.
Revelations. I didn't get that far. But when I got to that chapter about cleansing the altar with the blood of an animal, then I thought, well, this is not my cup of doll. But I did read through the epistles, the letters of Christ's disciples, the apostles, the letters of the apostles. And I found one letter after the other practically verbatim repeated the previous letters of the other apostles, with the exception of the epistle of John. John seemed to be of a different mood, and his letter is more personal. It shows a more personal relationship with Christ. And from some of the Christians I've known, they said, oh yes, John was more personally related with Christ than the other apostles. He was, he's more like a close disciple. Maybe we can see, entering many disciples of Guru Maharaj, and nobody has that closeness with him except Govinda Maharaj. Maybe, I'm sure there are others who are close to Guru Maharaj, but relationship with Guru Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj is not really known to anyone else in terms of the relationship of disciple and guru, to the point that towards the end, Guru Maharaj is asking Govinda Maharaj for, that Guru Maharaj is showing some reliance on Govinda Maharaj. And that will not be normally the relationship between guru and disciple so much, but of course it is a loving relationship, but in between Guru Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj, that loving relationship was very much evident and unlike anyone else. So, as I said, something of the more personal nature of the relationship between John and Christ I could see in his epistles. But don't ask me too much else about it, because what I've said is what I can gather. But I mean, there's many things that one can meditate upon and appreciate in Christianity. Of course, it's hard today. There's so much commercialism rendered in all the different holidays, and it will be hard to appreciate that. And then there's been people who made writings based on, they say that, well, Christ's birth wasn't really on December 25th, that it came at another time, but that was rather changed when Paul met with who was the leader of the Romans at that time? He preached to
Constantine.
Constantine. They say that some things were changed in Christianity when Paul met with Constantine. Some things were adapted so that the Romans could harmonize with Christianity. Therefore, and well, you can also see that it is said that some things were engineered, like Easter. Easter is, Easter with the Easter bunny and all that kind of thing it was related with the pagan, the pagan celebration of, fertility.
Yeah.
Related that. And they say, and of course, they related the day of Christ's appearance was somewhat related with the
winter solstice.
Winter solstice. And some of these things occur in pagan holidays, and they were meant to deal with that. I know when I was in Mexico, they have one of the main temples is in what's called the Zocalo, I think that's pronounced right, Zocalo. That's where they have the Temple of Guadalupe. And yeah, come in. That church was built on the ruins of previous places of worship, I guess, of the pagans, maybe a pagan temple. So some things maybe were, coordinated with the pagan holidays to be able to appeal to the Christians, and it's not so unusual. I remember, I won't mention names, but there was one devotee who sold fragrances in Venezuela. He sold different aerosol fragrances, like Macho Chango was one fragrance, and Isha or something like that was another fragrance. And all these things were being produced to appeal to some remnants of pagan feelings that are existing in people. And that comes out in the form of what will you call it? I know in Brazil they would call it, what is it? Macumba. Just let me get this right. It's you have everything? ¿Tienes todo?
Sí, allá adentro hay más cosas en el cuarto, ¿no?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Macumba. Macumba is the word. ¿Conoces la palabra macumba?
No. ¿Qué significa? What is the meaning?
Macumba is Brazilian.
Oh.
It's Brazilian, means la magia negra, que hay tantas tiendas que venden cosas de magia negra.
Oh.
Eso se llama in Brazil macumba.
Black magic.
Yeah, black magic.
Oh, wow.
Literally, though, can be black. Vaishnavi said the name black magic, but that some of the magic does come from Nigeria. It was brought over by persons.
They told me that voodoo born in India.
Oh, okay. She said, Gurudev said, voodoo is born in India. We would call it tantric in India, but what is it that combines the two words, Makumba and anyway, this, what was I talking about now? I was talking about, that a devotee was selling these fragrances in Venezuela. He had aerosols, Chango Macho, Isha, different things from, basically related to this, to Macumba. Macumba is in Brazil. It's like tantric. It's tantric, and what do they call carnival in Brazil? There's something that combines two words, and one of them is Macumba, and other is, what's the name for carnival in Brazil? You know?
Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras.
Well, that's not the word I was looking for, but it's something that combined Macumba and another word. But anyway, it's not so important. I'll probably forget. I'll remember it when I'm not around anybody, and then. So anyway, I'm just saying that the only reason I mention these things is there are some Christians who say the 25th is not Christ's real birthday, but I don't really. It doesn't bother me at all. First, if they be some wrong date or something, I mean, Srila Saraswati Thakur gave us the dates of appearances or disappearance of the Vaishnavas and everything like this. So if it's coming through, for me, if something's coming through the devotee, I'll accept that. Whatever, if it's an exalted devotee like Guru Maharaj, his expression, Saraswati Thakur's expression, we must accept that. So, when Christ is born, if you ask me that, I'll say December 25th, everybody knows that. I'll be satisfied with that. Anyway, we have some appreciation for sacrifice, and we have some appreciation for Jesus Christ. And to me, his example is also of that of the Guru. As the Guru, endeavoring. Christ had disciples. He was a Guru. He expresses that, and he engaged in his preaching mission, and his disciples engaged in that. So that's how I'll approach it. What can one learn from the example of Jesus Christ? Many things. But I mean, there were some years, it's not happening now so much, but there were some years when the devotees had a Christmas tree in the prasadam room and things like that. They'd leave, and always every year, Sureshri and other devotees would always leave, at Christmas time, they'd leave presents practically for all the devotees. And, I'm personally I'm not going out and preaching all these things, but if someone asks me to reflect upon it, as Nard is asking me to do, I can reflect on it. That's nice. But the more importance to me, I won't say more importance, I'll say the greatest importance to me is coming up on this day of Tuesday, the 21st, which is now 6 days away, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
And that's Govinda Maharaj's Divine Appearance Day. And that for me is a very, it's coming right on the winter solstice too. Day of the winter solstice.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It's a very, very wonderful. See, it's all been engineered. No, it's different every year, of course. But we'll celebrate Govinda Maharaj's appearance. To me, that's a very dear holiday. And then 2 days later is the disappearance of Srila Saraswati Thakur, which is this year on the 23rd. And then, what is it? That one's Tuesday, Thursday, and then 23rd. Then 2 days later, you can celebrate Christmas too. Then you'll have a real week. Next week will be all a real week for everyone. I'm not a practicing Christian, but I can always accept gifts on the 25th. I can accept gifts on any day. But see, that's where I see a little bit of the dichotomy, you might say, that the 25th Christmas is a happy day for everyone, the birth of Christ, and yet at the same time there's so many images of Christ seen, of the crucifixion, and those things are painful. So it'd be nice if they could get their feelings straight a little bit. Okay, if they want to do the crucifixion, save that for Easter or something. But that's, we mentioned, that's the pagan holiday of fertility. Then we should be, okay, we can accept it in that sense. Resurrection, re-life, etc. That can tie together.
Yeah.
Is there any other question?
Yeah, I have another question just come in from Anonymous. And the question is,
do you think Anonymous, these questions from Anonymous, are they from, do you think Anonymous is one person, or do you think it's a conglomerate?
Yeah, I know who it is, but I don't want to add them in there.
Okay, but every one of Anonymous is the same person?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the question is, in the Shikastakam, Lord Chaitanya compares our consciousness to a dusty mirror. When we look in the mirror, the vision of our reflection is obstructed by a thick layer of dust accumulated through lifetimes of material desires or intentions. Similarly, when we are around another soul, the vision of our own soul's desires or intentions can be reflected back to us as like attracting like, which can be either favorable or unfavorable towards devotion. Even though there are other Bhakti yoga practitioners. Can you talk about how to process this type of feedback we get both from our internal chanting practices and external environment as indicators of how to course correct our soul's desires or intentions?
Well, you'll have to read that again a little more slowly, because I'm trying to, I can understand the first part, Chaitodarpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavi, Bhadava, Chaitodarpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Okay, I can understand that part, but what's the second part?
Okay, so the second part, I'm not sure it's Siddhanta, but it's their opinion, I guess. It says, similarly, when we are around another soul, the vision of our own soul's desires or intentions can be reflected back to us as like attracting like, which can be either favorable or unfavorable towards devotion, even though they may be other Bhakti yoga practitioners.
Well, I don't necessarily follow the logic of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think what they're saying is that when we're with other people, our internal desires sometimes get reflected back to us from that person. But I don't think it's correct to say that it's the soul's desire, because the soul doesn't have desires as such, does it? So
well, that's okay, but I'm trying to understand by what process they see that one's desires are reflected to us in others. I don't really have so much that consciousness. I rather was, when I'm around people, usually they're devotees, then I remember Govinda Maharaj's words, and they tend to be my feeling a little bit. He said, I have always trusted people. Sometimes I may be cheated, but I've always trusted people. So when I'm around devotees, if they will talk about many mundane things, then perhaps I'll get a glimpse of what Anonymous is saying about seeing the desires of others. But usually, I'd say most of the time when I'm around devotees and we have some conversation that goes into any depth or anything, I see other persons as expressing to me pure sentiments of devotion, and if anything, what I'm perceiving is not a reflection, but I'm perceiving my own internal unworthiness. Of here is a person who sees me as a devotee and relates to me in that way, but perhaps I'm unworthy of the expressions and the affection which come from devotees. That sometimes I will say, but I don't see their desires as a reflection of my own internal desires. I'm not seeing at that time when I'm with other devotees manifestation of my internal desires. Rather, I'm feeling sometimes a little bit of contrition, a little bit of feeling that this person sees some goodness in myself, and I wish that I had that feeling of internal purity that devotee sees in me. That I will feel, not that I will see that their mundane desires are a reflection of my own desires. I don't really tune into that aspect of people so much, unless we're engaged in something that is, maybe there are times when you're just with others to, on some level of participation of enjoyment, for instance. But still, I don't see it like that, like it's being expressed by Anonymous. There are many feelings of celebration which one has with other devotees, but they don't necessarily bring one down to the level of feeling one's internal desires. Rather, often if it's association of devotees, we will be elevated by that association. We will be bettered by that association, even if it's something which would be mundane or semi-mundane. Like we used now, since the pandemic, we don't do it anymore. Obviously, why not? But we used to, every year at this time of the year, we used to get so many wonderful gifts from boutiques. Some of the devotees would go to boutiques, but the majority of the gifts were what's called Toys for Tots. They were actually coming through, I believe, the Marines. The Marines had a charitable organization formed for Christmas, and they would donate very, very costly or very good gifts for children. And we would get those gifts, and we would go to the beach flats in Santa Cruz. That's one of the poorer areas. Many of the persons actually are immigrants from, they're from Mexico, they're from El Salvador. They tend to be in that area, but there can be other persons from Latin America. But more Latin American persons congregate in Miami that are from South America. And on the California side, they tend to be from Mexico and Central America, like Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. That more of that, but sometimes some persons from South America. But South American persons usually tend to go towards Miami and New York and places like that. And then one place that has everyone is Chicago. Chicago has both from Mexico and Central America and also from South America. But at our Christmas party, a lot of the people were from, as I said, Mexico, El Salvador, like that. You know, Guatemala, Honduras. And we would, they are the persons who tend to live in a poor area of Santa Cruz, which is called Beach Flats. And Beach Flats is near the boardwalk. The boardwalk was like the piers near the ocean. And we would have a program, say on the 21st or 23rd of December, where one of the devotees would be dressed as Santa Claus. And some of the lady devotees would dress as Santa Claus as elves. And they'd come there, and Santa Claus would call the children, and they'd one by one they'd form lines, and they'd sit on. Sometimes they'd sit. If they were bigger, they'd sit on a bench, and some of the little ones would sit on Santa Claus's knee. Sometimes some would be. I remember one year, one of the devotees played Santa Claus. And forget who that devotee was that did Santa Claus. And maybe one of his own children sat on his knees and was so frightened. It's their own father, but because Santa Claus appears with a fake long white hair and white beard, and one of the children of Santa Claus was frightened by his appearance, was crying. But in general, they all came forward and we'd give so many gifts. And they were very good gifts. They were not, they came donated, like I said, from Toys for Tots. And the majority of them were expensive gifts. Like something that if some father gave his child that, the child would be very satisfied. And yet some of these people were very poor that lived in that area. So they would not be able to get so easily. Of course, they got some nice things from their family, like bicycles and all that, but these were games and, so many nice things. And we did that program for, 25 years. The last 2 years, though, we haven't been able to do that because of this pandemic.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? At that, you could say, oh, that's something mundane, but no, it's the people were getting sukriti through that too. Anyway, as I'm saying that in relation to Anonymous's characterization that when we are with others, we'll see in them our own latent, seem like he's saying that we'll see in others our own latent desires in the dust covering our heart, which is expressed by Mahaprabhu in that Cheto Darpanam Marjanam Bhava Mahagna Cheto Darpanam Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnam Rita Svaranam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. How the dust is being taken, it purifies. Darpanam means mirror, the mirror which has been covered with so much dust. And that mirror is a reflection of the soul, that much we can say. It's like you may not see your soul, but you'll see reflected in that mirror. So much dust is covering the mirror, so you can cleanse that dust from your heart, from your mind. That's why when some people would say, "Oh, some people would say, "Oh, the devotees are brainwashed," and then I would sometimes say, "Well, if your brain is dirty, so dirty, what's wrong with washing it? If you have some kind of bath for your outer body, why can't you have some cleansing for your own thought process?" Thought process, Guru Maharaj said the brain is like a taller. Taller is Spanish, means a workshop, I guess. Brain is not the mind is not in the brain, but the brain is a working organ. Would you say working organ, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it enables you to perceive perhaps some reflection of consciousness. But Mahaprabhu is not referring to the cleansing of the brain, although in modern parlance we might talk about brainwashing as something negative. But I also have that question myself. If your brain is so fouled up it can't even work, what's wrong with cleaning it? But Mahaprabhu is talking about cleansing the mirror of consciousness, which is, I will say, the heart, the mind, and I'm not equating the mind with the brain. I'm equating the mind with the heart. So, all right, cleansing the mirror of consciousness. The mirrors can get very much fouled up, just as someone might, if after they've been flossing their teeth for a few days in front of the bathroom mirror, that mirror sometimes needs a good cleaning, isn't it?
Yes.
So much tooth juice flies onto the mirror.
And a lovely image, Maharaj, yes.
Tooth juice. So the mirror has to be cleansed, otherwise one will see a fouled up mirror every time. How much can you see? How much can you see if your mirror is so full of spots of dust and everything? You have to. Any other questions? I don't know if I answered Anonymous's question, but if I didn't, they'll have to rephrase the question.
Yeah.
What about from other participants today? They have no non-anonymous questions?
I have a question, Maharaj.
Who is speaking?
This is Krishna Chaitanya.
Okay, good.
Maharaj, there is a question on Chaitanya Bhagavat. There is a lila in Adikanda, chapter 8 or 9, I believe. Sri Chaitanya Dev asked Shachi Devi to support him, to supply him some ingredients to worship the Ganges. And
Worship who?
Pardon?
Is this in the Adikanda or the Antyakanda?
Yeah, Adikanda, I believe.
Okay, and to supply some ingredients to worship who?
The Ganges.
Okay.
Prabhu Nimai, Pandit asks Shachi Devi to supply him some ingredients to worship the Ganges. And Mother Shachi tells him, please just wait a minute. And Mahaprabhu turns furious. He starts crashing all the pots in the house, crashing the walls, the doors, and etc., etc. And my question is, what's the idea behind that lila, and what does the Lord want from us to understand, to learn from that?
Can you tell me the exact chapter? Because I have to refresh my own understanding of what's happening.
The exact chapter. If you can just wait a minute.
Do you have access to? I'm reading the Chaitanya Bhagavat. I have it in the other room, but
He's getting it, I think.
Maharaj, he's mentioning
Chapter 8.
Chapter 8, exactly.
Yeah. It's Adikanda chapter 8. It starts from verse number 130.
just read the translations of the. Because you know 130, then you're looking at the translation with the Bengali in it.
Maharaj, it's in Russian. It would be difficult for me to translate into English on the flight.
But you're reading, you're reading the Russian translation of the Chaitanya Bhagavat, where it gives the verse numbers of all the verses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then that will be the one that's in Bengali, has the Bengali, and then the translation, and then it has commentary by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So anyway, tell me what incident it is. You started to tell me, so say again, what is occurring there?
Yeah, it's right after the departure of Sri Jagannatha Mishra.
Yes.
It's the same chapter, and Sri Chaitanya Dev wanted to go to the Ganges to bathe, and he tells Shachi Mother to give him a garland and to worship the Ganges. The mother replied, my dear Nimai, could you please wait for a moment? I will bring it to you. And after that, during that, Nimai became furious, like Lord Rudra.
Yeah. Now tell me if I'm wrong, because I've read that, but I'm trying to remember. I believe all this is in response to the fact that Nimai's education is being curtailed because Sachimata is afraid that he will develop some detachment from household life and become more attached to devotion, and then she's afraid he'll leave home. Am I right or wrong? I mean, I remember there was some chapters expressed where Mahaprabhu would break things and become furious because, and then people would ask, why are you doing like that? And he says, and he more or less replies, because I'm not being allowed to study. And this is not in relation to
that episode you mentioned, Maharaj. It's in a chapter earlier, just a chapter before. It's chapter 7, probably, or 6. Now, in this chapter, Nima is back to studying, and then Sri Jagannatha Mishra passes away, and in the same chapter happens this Rudra Lila.
Okay, so what are the few verses that it says before Mahaprabhu starts breaking everything? Can you say what those verses are? Just read them.
Sri Jagannatha Mishra passes away, and Shachimata and Nimai Pandit, they experience some deep grief, and time passes by, and they are coming back to normal life. And after that, that Rudra Lila is explained, is described.
And is this, at this time, has Lakshmi passed away?
No, Lakshmi hasn't come into the scene yet.
Okay, all right. Well, I know I've read that chapter, but if you want, I'll go get the book and see, but I can't comment just out of memory what the significance of his breaking things are. Gaurachandra, can you say something about that? You also read the Chaitanya Bhagavatam.
Oh, yes, but this is exactly like the devotee said that Krishna Chaitanya is asking. Is an incident, and it's a very good question, because it just seems out of the blue, like Mahaprabhu got in a mood and went into the house. I have the Chaitanya Bhagavat in English in front of me. I'm trying to get exactly the quote to put it in the chat so you can see it right away. But yes, it's in fact, because I have it in Spanish, Maharaj. Maybe it's easier because I have it here. I have it here in front of me. Let me just.
Well, say it in Spanish.
Well, basically, it's like the devotees, like Krishna Chaitanya is saying. Like one day, Mahaprabhu just went into the house and started breaking the pots and breaking everything inside the house, and then Sachimata was very what is the word? Like she didn't understand what was the behavior, and he will ask him, "What is the purpose of this destruction?" Mahaprabhu will not reply anything, and that's it. She will say, "This house, everything inside, everything belongs to you, and the loss is for you. I am not the responsible. If you want to go to study in this moment, if you want to start, you can do it, but we have no provision in this house. What are you going to eat tomorrow?" Nimai smile to the words of his mother and say, "Krishna is the maintainer. He will take care of us," he replied. With that, the Lord of Saraswati took his books and his hands, and he went to study. Yeah, and then that's the, and then he will come back and then he will ask some money. That's another part of his following, that he will come and he will ask some money to Sachimata, and then he will give some money to Sachimata. He will give gold to Sachimata, and she will ask, where are you taking this gold? And he will not reply to that. I think I asked you about that one before, but yeah, I can copy here if you like.
I can get the book if that's, because I can't comment right now because I don't remember. Let me see.
Yes, and Srila Saraswati Thakur didn't supply any purport that episode, unfortunately.
What is the
You,
verse?
you have the one with shlokas. I also have that, but I'm looking at it in the one with just prose commentary, and it's on Adi 8, you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, 88, starting from verse 130.
How many verses in the chapter?
More than up to 200, I believe.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. I'm here at that point. I'm reading all this. Okay. What is the importance of this, you're asking?
Yes, what's the idea behind that?
The idea.
My pandit seems to be quite cruel here.
It's not so much a question of cruelty as he's flying into a rage and he's breaking everything, and but that is the nature of that is being expressed here is his divine will, his pastimes acting in this way.
Maharaj, one question. Should we always, or not always, should we sometimes, or something like this, for example, should we try to learn, like, well, is God and he can do whatever he please, and basically we are very, very honored to learn about this, and we should not even try to understand it.
Well, more or less something of that I'm seeing, because he asked his mother for a garland. She says, I'll have to bring it. And then he flies into a rage and breaks everything. So, yes, ultimately, he has that right, and he's showing, as it's expressed to us, he has all rights reserved. He can do as he chooses. And we will see that actually everything belongs to him. If he wishes to smash things, then it is his right to do so. Normally people would say, what kind of behavior is that? But his sometimes when someone makes some expectation that the Lord must behave in such and such a way, then they can show that I do not have to perform according to any criteria that you wish to make for me. Any so-called standard of morality, etiquette that I'm supposed to fit into, you can forget about that. I'm not subject. I'm not subject to any rules. I'm not subject to any regulations, and I may behave as I like. And someone will have to adjust their own conception of divinity to be able to accommodate that. Or as Guru Maharaj expressed it, all rights reserved. We would expect there must, what is it? What was the slogan from the revolution? No taxation without representation. Or, what is the other expression? No taxation without representation. But you may have no representation in the divine Leela of the Lord. He doesn't have to act or perform according to your criteria of what is proper behavior, what is, something of this to this. That we will only participate if things are done according to our standards. What? No. I don't have any, your standards have no validity with me, the Lord can say. What you express, what you expect, I'm not subject to that. But what is being expressed here, this is Leela, is it so unknown to have any of the devotees here? They've had children, they've witnessed temper tantrums and childish behavior, have they not? Have any of you expressed this kind of behavior previously when you were younger? That you would fly into a rage and break everything?
Yep. Still do on occasions.
Yeah.
Nothing divine about it in my case, though, I'm afraid.
Yeah, nothing divine, but with the Lord it is divine. You have to adjust your thinking to that.
Yeah.
Well, I remember this kind of fury. I had a bicycle. Always the back tire would rub against the rim.
Huh.
Well, now you appear. after so many lifetimes of messages and emails. Right now I'm on with devotees in England. Did you already bathe the deities? Can you wait a little? Well, or I can go over to your house. I want to work this out.
Sure.
Okay?
Or I can come back there.
But will you actually do that?
Of course, Maharaj.
Yeah, of course, right.
Or
When do
we
you...
can do it tomorrow.
No, I'd like to... Today's Wednesday, good day. That's just... Yeah, strong. So, I'm just interrupting here myself for a minute. So that, when's a good time to go to your house? Will you be there?
I think so.
Well, okay.
Just
What good is it calling you? You never answer the phone.
I can answer.
All right. Okay. So, anyway. I was saying I had a bicycle that always the rim rubbed against the back tire. So many times I tried to adjust it. I'd loosen the bolts and move the wheel and everything, and to no avail. It would only become worse. So then I would just lift the bicycle above my head and smash it to the ground. Which I might add, it didn't fix the bicycle. It didn't fix it. Smashing it to the ground didn't adjust the wheel properly. All these chapters, there's also some internal, there's the Lord at times is expressing rage. And he was expressing rage because at one point because they wouldn't let him continue with his studies. And then the neighbors and everyone came on the Lord's behalf to say, why isn't this boy allowed to go to school or to resume his studies? That was one expression of rage. Then there were other expressions of rage. Here's one. To the point we hear that Sachi Mata thought that Nimai was having fits of his fits of rage were due to imbalance of the airs or something within the body, and she gave him some special oil that he was supposed to use, right? And
yes.
And then Mahaprabhu, I guess he asked Srivas Pandit, do you think I'm crazy? And Srivas Pandit said, the craziness you have, I beg to have some of that. I wish I had that craziness. And then Mahaprabhu was satisfied. I believe it's Srivas Pandit, and he said, had you agreed that I was crazy, I would have ran and jumped into the Ganga and drowned myself. But and then the Chaitanya Bhagavat has a particular flavor that's unique to itself, in which Mahaprabhu passes through and he'll feel different moods of different avatars. He'll feel different moods of even sometimes of some of personalities like Lord Shiva, etc. I mean, Mahaprabhu shows different moods, and like when we read that chapter about Mahaprabhu presenting the drama in his house where he plays Rukmini, right? And at the same time, he's not just playing Rukmini, he's passing through moods where he's expressing all the different Shaktis. He's, Rukmini, you could say, wife of Krishna, but that's she's in that same category as, you know, we have the like the person of what is it, Gadadhar Pandit, right? That he also in the category of Shakti, right?
Yeah.
What is it? Krishna Bhaktam Nishkam? Panchatatmatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupatam Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. And Shaktikam. And as Mahaprabhu is playing Rukmini in the drama, he's passing through all the different manifestations of Shakti, both divine and in the platform of the material energy also. But he's showing all the different appearances of Shakti when he sometimes he's Rukmini, sometimes he's Radharani, and you know, sometimes he's showing the mood of, what else is it, of so many different forms of Shakti. You can't say that in the play he's purely presenting Rukmini. That's one of the things that's expressed in that chapter. And he's showing all these different moods. So I know Krishna Chaitanya, what one's supposed to get out of that will be to, I guess the Lord, all I can think for right now, I'd have to go back and read the chapter, but all I can think of right now is the expression that Guru Maharaj gives, all rights reserved. He doesn't have to conform to your conception, my conception, or anyone's conception. He can do as his own sweet will dictates. And as Guru Maharaj would say, are you ready for that? Because other people, if they heard this, they'd say, what kind of a God do you worship? He's breaking everything in his house, putting his mother into distress. How do you adjust that? And all I can say is how you adjust it, you have to become all accommodating. You can't put any criteria or any restraints upon the Lord. If he's the sweet divine, then you'll have to accept his Leela as he shows it. And I remember the example given of Maharaj Pratraparudra. Of course, he hankered. He had so much desire to be able to meet Mahaprabhu. Ishanuga, do you have your hand up?
And Maharaj?
No.
You have your,
No.
There's a hand up on that, or on Devashish's box there.
Oh, I think I just must have pressed that by mistake.
Okay, it's right above Ishanuga, so I said, do you have your hand up?
Oh, I see it, yeah. Oh, what else going on there?
Okay, but anyway, that, what was I saying? You can say, what was the sentence I was saying right now about you have to be able to accept everything from the Lord without any questioning, but...
You were talking something about Maharaj Prataparudra.
Oh, Maharaj Pratraparudra. Of course, we always hear how much he desired to meet with Mahaprabhu, and he's always requesting his darshan and all that. Until after Ratha Yatra, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made a plan how we could meet with Mahaprabhu in the park and everything. But before that, there's a time when of course, Maharaj Prachaparuda was a great devotee also of Lord Jagannath. He's always going to the temple. He's worshiping Lord Jagannath. As royalty, he's the administrator really for the temple of Lord Jagannath. And of course, he has much attachment to Lord Jagannath. But one time he's seeing Mahaprabhu's Leela. He hasn't yet gotten Mahaprabhu's Darshan, and he sees Mahaprabhu, his deep feelings of separation, and how Mahaprabhu, there's foam falling from his mouth, and he's going into, you can say, he's into almost what you would call divine fits and everything. He's foam from the mouth, sometimes even the hairs are standing on end, blood is even coming out from his pores sometime. And all these things were shocking to Maharaj Prachaparuda. I mean, they would be shocking to anybody who sees this. Mahaprabhu's internal Leela could be shocking to people. His teeth come loose, they're chattering and everything. So Maharaj Prachaparuda witnessed this. He was shocked. He was shocked. What's happening? He was shocked. And then he had a dream. Of course, he's a devotee of Jagannath. And he had a dream, and then he sees, and he's worshiping Jagannath, but then in his dream he sees that foam is coming from the mouth of Lord Jagannath, and so many of the moods of separation that Mahaprabhu had shown, he's seeing in the form of, he's seeing expressed by Lord Jagannath in his dream. And of course, that's shocking to him, right? And then it's kind of, that dream is kind of like a rhetorical question. Now do you understand? Jagannath is showing Mahaprabhu's divinity. He's showing some of Mahaprabhu. Have you heard that Leela before?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So then it's an expression like, to Maharaj Prachaparuda, who's wondering about what Mahaprabhu is showing. It's like shocking to him. Going into fits, foam falling from his mouth, all his bones becoming separated, and his hair standing on end, and blood coming out of the pores of Mahaprabhu, and all this is shocking to Maharaj Prachaparuda. But then he has a dream, and he sees something of that coming from Lord Jagannath, and it's like a question to Maharaj Prachaparuda. Now do you understand? It's not expressed like that. There's no question. Now do you understand? But we can understand that that's what the dream is saying to Mahaprabhu. Now do you understand? There's much of that expressed in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. I would say, like so many things expressed in the Chaitanya Bhagavat which differ from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but at the same time, the Chaitanya Charitamrita sometimes makes reference to these things. But this is all the divine Leela of the Lord. I have not always gotten a logical explanation for the Lord's Leela. I mean, it's not something I can arbitrate or give a good commentary on what this Leela refers to. Because it's not once, but several times mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, where Mahaprabhu expresses fury and rage and goes into fits almost. When he was feeling all the different moods of the avatars, when it came to Lord Nrsingadev, mentioned Mahaprabhu got in the mood of Lord Nrsinga, and he was so ferocious that all the devotees and so many people were hiding. They were hiding as he ran through the whole town with a club. So, I don't know. I think that one of the things of the Chaitanya Bhagavat is giving the own authors, Vrindavan Das, his observation of Mahaprabhu's Leela and present it in a very different way than Krishnadas Kaviraj's. What can I say? Just like something in the mood, Vrindavan Das's. What is that expression we heard from Guru Maharaj? That Vrindavan Das saying, after hearing about the mood of, Vrindavan Das is saying, after hearing about the mercy and glories of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. What is it? If you do not accept, then I kick you in the head. Can you say that properly, Devashis?
Yeah, it says, whoever doesn't accept the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then I kick in your face with my left foot.
All right. But it's even after hearing of the glories of Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu, if you do not accept, I kick in your face with my left foot. So Vrindavan Das is presenting things. Sometimes he is a hardcore devotee of Nityananda Prabhu, and he does have his own expressions of how he sees the Leela of Mahaprabhu. And even in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, sometimes Mahaprabhu adopts the mood of Balaram. So Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Bhagavat goes through a whole range of emotions. And that will be part of the unique presentation of Vrindavan Das. He's a real complete disciple of Nityananda Prabhu. So he's got all these, even though it's expression of Mahaprabhu's fury in the house of Lakshmi, of Sachimat, and breaking everything. But who else could present this than Vrindavan Das Thakur? All right. So now, we're getting towards that magical hour, magical time of your dinner. Do they call that din din or anything like that? No.
I do, yeah.
Oh, you do. So, what are the? I'd like to. I'm here in America. We're very far removed from any kind of culture, so we'd like to know what are some of the things that the devotees eat for dinner in England. Can you say, Devashis Ishanugo, what is a typical dinner in your house?
And maybe sabji, rice, dal, sometimes, and sometimes maybe, like spaghetti and meatballs, or maybe it'll be pasta bake, or
okay. So,
sometimes khichdi.
That's nice. Usually in the mat we would see they'd have rice, dal, sabji, bitter, all those things at midday.
Yeah.
In the mat, usually they would make sabji, which is called tarkari, tarkari and ruti, chapatis, and then sometimes maybe some fried potatoes that were the round ones, as if you cut a potato.
Yeah.
Aloo bhaja. That might be typical. Now, if I ask Gaurachandra what you have for dinner, he will say arepas or what?
No, Maharaj, here, if you want to know, we're doing
No sound, you cut off.
a roast, not roast, with roasted veggies and things like that.
What is it?
That is a typical Christmas dinner here.
Okay, so that's ayaka. Is that what you're doing?
Not roast.
Yaka. No, pigs in a blanket. They take bacon and they wrap a sausage with that. That's what they do.
Sausage wrapped with bacon?
Yeah, that's pigs in a blanket, they call it.
I think he's
Pigs in a, well, that's an American expression, pigs, but pigs in a blanket? I don't, maybe.
Yeah, we have that, yeah.
But that's not what
And
you're,
they also have something like, yeah, we're doing that on this Friday,
but what are you doing today?
a vegan version, of course. And we are doing a pastry. You can say better. It's something, it's a pastry with a lot of things inside, and you bake it and you slice it and you put it on top of roasted veggies. That is typical.
Oh. In Mexico,
It's very nice.
In Mexico, there's one preparation. It's not necessarily related with Christmas, but it's called Nino and Vuelto. It's very good. Means a wrapped up child, but
yes, we hope.
You know what it is? It's
muchacho. Yes.
Yeah. What it is they take some thin, like cake. They make a special kind of cake, and then what is it? They make cake, and then they put ice cream, and the cake is thin, so that then they roll up the cake with the ice cream between it, so it looks like there's spirals of ice cream and there's spirals of cake with ice cream in between the cake, and an ice cream, it'll be layers of it'll look like a pinwheel with cake and ice cream. That's very tasty. Called Nino and Vuelto.
Have you ever tried pan de jamón?
Huh?
Have you ever tried pan de jamón?
I think one of the devotees made it for us. I don't know who it is, but if it's something do with Venezuela, here we have a lot of Venezuelans, so I'm sure that maybe it came from them.
It is like that, and it's a roll, and it has cheese inside, and it have olives, and it have capers, this horrible thing, raisins. It have raisins inside, but you can choose not to take them. And then they bake like a bread, and it's very, very, very nice with the
All right,
That's
but I was trying to evaluate what is the typical English dinner, but then as seen by the devotees and what they're having tonight. So tonight, what are you having?
Me, ramen.
Huh?
I'm always getting ramen. That's what I get every night.
Ramen soup?
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite tasty, quite nice.
Yes, it's very good.
And Rasaraj is only for you. It is not dinner time. For Rasaraj, it is only
3:20.
Huh?
It's 3:20 over here.
Did you already have lunch?
Yeah, I already had lunch.
Okay. See, we also here. There's Lakshmi Kanti, Falguni, Gaurachandra, and others. We have many here. Also, we have many Venezuelans. We have Brinda. We have Vaishnavi. She was just here, and Saki, and Saki and Brinda and Vaishnavi. That's one family.
Alindi.
Kalindi and Vaidehi is another family. Then we have, who else will it be? One other. There's those three. Oh, then they have Adi Keshava. He doesn't have a family, but he comes here. Who else?
What are you taking for dinner, Maharaj?
Well, here it is just lunch, and I don't know what they're. Today's every day it's a different person. Today cooking is Sanatani. So, but maybe that's Sanatani now. We'll see. Hello. Dhanyavad, how are you? Okay. No, it's okay. I'm here with that ending. We're at towards the end of the Zoom conference with England. Okay, I'll call you back if you want. Done well. I was thinking, then there's 6 Venezuelans, but that's not all. I know there's more. 6, and who else? Offhand, I can't think. I think we have about 8 or 9 Venezuelans here. All right. Lakshmi Kanti, what are you taking? And what is there's Saraswati?
I already have dinner, Maharaj. I had dinner early.
What did you have?
What was your dinner?
Prabhu made stir-fry rice noodles with vegetables and tofu.
Oh, very nice.
Yes. Because I came back from work and I was super hungry. So I had to eat before the darshan.
Who is there in the London top mine?
Dhanyavad Maharaj. Smriti. Bengali family. She's the wife of Chakrabarti, Ratan Chakrabarti.
Okay, Dhanyavad.
Yeah, Dhanyavad. Nice to hear from you, Maharaj.
Good hearing from all the devotees. Good to see you. In Saraswati. So, the reason I asked what people were having for dinner, because I thought I might have a glimpse of what is more going in the line of English flavored. Something, no. The devotees are unique.
Yeah, we're a hybrid, aren't we?
Hybrid.
Maharaj, Lakshmi Kanti is joking that English has no flavor. That it's very bland. And it reminded me, there was a comedy show where, like, there's a typical thing where English people will be in like Indian restaurants and they will be asking for, you know, oh, what is the spiciest thing that you have? But they did the reverse, where they went for an English meal and it's Indians in an English restaurant and they're asking, what is the blandest thing you have on the menu?
But I've eaten at Devashis' house. Of course, he's not exactly pure English, but
How dare you, man?
Well, so I ate at his house and it was rice, dal, and sabji. Quite well cooked also, tasty, not bland. But sometimes I've seen the devotees, sometimes when they're pushed into the mood of just rice, dal, and sabji, it's distinct from what they normally cook at home. At home, they don't cook rice, dal, and sabji, which I guess is typical of devotees everywhere. They'll cook more like spaghetti, enchiladas, or maybe there's some form of lasagna, or they'll make boca burgers, as they're called here, and so many other things.
Sausages.
You're making us hungry, Maharaj.
Well, it's your dinner time. You can be hungry. You'll get dinner within 5 minutes. All right, I won't hold up the dinners any longer. I'll sing Ananta Govinda. Okay. Well, today Dandavat. Today we're missing Suvasini.
Maharaj, I'm here. I'm here, Maharaj.
Oh, okay.
I've been here listening.
Okay.
Dandavat, Maharaj.
Dandavat. And there is Karuna also. She's there. Suvasini, in your house, do you prepare things like rasam? Do you make?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
You make rasam.
Yeah, every other day, rasam or sambar or some, yeah, we make. Yeah,
We're coming.
yeah, please do. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to go
Idlis
there.
and dosas for dinner. Okay.
Yeah, this was when I went to, I was staying in Bangalore for some months. But there we were eating very nice. Rasam, shambar, all these things. Idlis, doshas.
Yes.
Lovely.
It's very nice. That was one of Prabhupada's jokes. He said, if the last two people in the world were Marathi, was it Marathi? He said they would start a friendship. If the last two people in the world were, what are they? The ones from UP, all the life members we deal with, they're what are they called? Marwaris. The last two people in the world are Marwaris, they'll start a business. I think if the last two people in the world are Madrasis, they'll start a friendship. And if the last two people in the world are Bengalis, they'll start a fight. That was one of Prabhupada's jokes. Apparently people from Madras are very friendly, or something. Anyway,
That's nice to know.
something like that. Anyway, I'll let you all take your dinner. It's nice to see everyone.
Good to see you always, Maharaj.
All right.
Bye, Maharaj. Thank you very much for your time.
Dandavats.
Dandavad.
Always hoping everyone will be for their good health and everything. So we'll see all of you.
Yeah.
Maharaj, nice to see you. Thank you.
Jai Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.